youtube.com/Sal. Come and join us. Go subscribe now.
Hey, what's up, Legion? My name is Sal, and this is another Expedition Log. In this episode, we're going to be visiting the very first mall built by legendary DC mall developer Ted Lerner to see just how this awesome property has changed since first being constructed all the way back in 1960. Thanks to my patrons, elite explorers, and everyone who has purchased merch from my website recently. I've got brand new signed prints, eternal Dead Mall leaf bookmarks from malls such as Lake Forest, Century 3, Chapel Hill, and Richland Mall, and a couple of Rolling Acres fountain fragments left. So go to salvatoreamadeo.com/merch to browse the collection. I'll get your order packed up, personally wax sealed, and shipped out within a few business days. Thanks again for the support, Legion. For your consideration, I'd like you all to come take a walk with me through the Westfield Wheaton Mall, formerly known as Wheaton Plaza in Wheaton, Maryland. But first, a word from our sponsors, Morton's, The Wiz, and a vintage Wheaton Plaza spot from 1971. Enjoy.
Save up to 60% at Morton's Holiday Sale. Ladies' fashion sweaters and vests, half price, $12. Boys' puff-filled ski jackets, $12.99. Jordache and other designer denim jeans, half price.
Men's $19.99. Students $17.99.
Morton's through Columbus Day.
We'll return
to Harvey in just a moment.
Nobody beats the Wiz. Nobody beats the Wiz. The Wiz breaks the price barrier with the guaranteed lowest prices. Like this NEC VHS VCR with wireless remote, only $339. Or this Technics compact disc player, just $188.
Shop around, get your best price, bring it in, and the Wiz will beat it. Nobody beats the Wiz, and that's a guarantee.
4 great locations: Rockville Pike, Iverson Plaza, and 2 locations downtown.
Tell her you care in over 70 people-loving shops at Wheaton Plaza, Georgia Avenue, Veers Mill Road, and University Boulevard, Wheaton, Maryland.
It's a whole new shopping scene.
Welcome to Westfield Wheaton, or as I've known it while working and living in this area, Wheaton Plaza. This mall was originally built as an open-air plaza back in 1960, and over the years, it's changed drastically. But you can still find remnants of this mall's past in its current configuration, most notably parts of an underground tunnel and basement system that used to serve as a loading dock and partial retail concourse.
Come on.
The story for this mall goes hard, so after we find the entrance, we're gonna jump into the historical narrative.
Hopefully these are stairs. Oh, that's disgusting. Oof. It smells like the smell they put in used cars to make them smell new, like somebody smoked like 18 packs of cigarettes in it beforehand. That's what it smells like in here. Oh. All right, here we go. So as we're getting into the mall, I just want to point out the unique configuration of this place. Take note of that as you look around. We're entering the first floor, but it's seemingly underground,
Just to the left of us right now is the North Parking Garage, which has its entrance at the corner of University Boulevard and Veers Mill Road, which is level with the second floor of this mall. A loading dock was built at the end of a tunnel which ran underneath Wheaton Plaza, and you can still see traces of this tunnel at the end of the mall. We're going to revisit that area later in the episode, and I'll show you what's left of that tunnel and basement system and where the loading docks used to be, so stick with me. Back in March of 1954, local developer Simon Sherman purchased 80 acres of land in Wheaton, Maryland from Charles Heitmuller for $800,000. Despite this transaction consisting of such a large tract of land, Sherman made zero effort to disclose actual plans for this land at the time of his purchase. But in early 1955, he was able to get 65 acres of this land rezoned from residential to commercial, indicating some sort of impending retail development. By February 9, 1955, he announced plans to construct a new open-air shopping plaza consisting of 8 separate buildings, similar to the configuration of Prince George's Plaza right up the street, which had 9 buildings at its grand opening. If you haven't seen it yet, I covered PG Plaza in my previous episode, ExLog 133, so make sure to go check that out. Ground was broken for the new plaza on January 21, 1956, and a giant grocery store was born 9 months later as junior anchor between the space that currently occupies Target and Macy's. As work continued on the mall, Sherman was looking to expand the footprint of its parking facilities. He petitioned Montgomery County to convert part of the land that was then marked as residential to be rezoned as commercial for the new parking garage. The county approved this request, but stipulated that the mall could only have its points of entry and exit at Veers Mill Road and University Boulevard to limit traffic at the southern end of the property where a new neighborhood was currently being developed. This would complicate plans for the mall, as the north end at the intersection of Veers Mill Road and University Boulevard was over 30 feet higher in elevation than the southern point.
God, it stinks in there. Oh.
In my travels, I've seen malls that have elevation differences before, such as the 10-foot elevation ramp going all the way down the physics-defying Colonial Park Mall in Harrisburg, or White Marsh Mall, where the second floor of the JCPenney drops 15 feet down to the parking lot of Boscov's first floor. But for both Colonial Park and White Marsh, the first floor for these malls were carved down into the land rather than built up on top, like what was done here at Wheaton Plaza. The plan for Wheaton Plaza was to dig the land out and float the mall to be level with the higher elevation, as if it were built like an oceanfront house on stilts. And so, due to the growing complication of this development, Simon Sherman pulled out of the project in 1957, leaving the new mall in limbo. Back in 1957, when Simon Sherman bailed on the new Wheaton Mall, his financiers searched for a new development company to finish the project. By 1958, they offered Ted Lerner the opportunity to purchase an 11% stake in developing the new mall in Wheaton, making him manager of the property. Lerner had established his development company in 1952 and was then partners with Baltimore, Maryland-based Homer Gudelsky and Washington, D.C.-based H. Max Ammerman. I covered the story of Ted Lerner building his company up in ExLog 129 on Tysons 1, so if you'd like to hear more about that, go check that episode out. Lerner and his partners went full send with the new mall project in Wheaton and spent the next year and a half pushing ahead with the incredibly complex engineering behind construction of this plaza. By February 5, 1960, the grand opening and ribbon-cutting ceremony was held for the Wheaton Plaza. This open-air mall was dedicated with senior anchors Woodward and Lothrop and a Montgomery Ward on either end of the mall, with a service basement along the length of the concourse and a handful of lower-level stores called the Plaza South Stores below the Woody's concourse. According to reporter Victoria Stone in her February 1960 article in the Washington Post, the mall was designed in a Georgian revival style, which is characterized by its symmetry and mathematical adherence to classical rules of architecture. But the mall featured light fixtures resembling globes and bubbles and geometric brutalism throughout with concrete to meet the mid-century modern approach of what Ted Lerner called the, quote, future, a suburban downtown with a mall and free parking, close quote. The walkways were fabricated with brick and Italian marble, and along the open-air concourse were lush evergreen trees, Florentine glass panels, and a fountain designed by Yale University instructor Barbara Chase Ribot.
They can't possibly sell all of these.
Back when the mall was enclosed in the 1980s, there was an underground service tunnel that I mentioned earlier, which passed directly to the left of this area we're looking down at right now, which had an extending basement area that ran the length of the entire mall up to the Plaza South stores near Woody's. Again, we're currently on the second floor of the mall, which was the first and only level in 1960. That tunnel and service basement was demolished in 2005, when this area was converted to a new concourse for Macy's and Target. But a bit later in the episode, when we go outside, you'll see the old loading docks at the terminus of where this old creepy tunnel used to be, so stick with me.
All right, we're gonna go back down and then check this corridor out. That's more like it. We're gonna go that way. What's in here?
This Dollar Ocean Plus store looks like it was just forgotten since the 1980s. With that gnarly, super gnarly carpet and the drop ceiling tiles that are still featured so loud and proud. There's no way that this store did a fresh remodel to open this dollar store empire. Either way though, I just love it. When you see a storefront looking like this, so run down and out of place in 2025, inside of a mall that looks relatively modern, it's just a treat.
What the hell is that?
In some ways, to my brain, this store is more colorful than some newer parts of this mall. At the time of Wheaton Plaza's grand opening, Montgomery Ward was in the middle of a $500 million expansion program to open 30 new stores across the country. But their location at Wheaton Plaza would be the largest in footprint, with 235,000 square feet of space spanning 2 levels of retail, with a third basement level for district offices. In contrast, the Woody's at Wheaton Plaza came in at a meager 162,000 square feet. But the mall itself at the time of grand opening was the largest shopping center in the DC metro area, and it had 500,000 shoppers visit just in the first week alone. Through the 1960s, Wheaton Plaza thrived, but towards the end of the decade, Ted Lerner was opening a new mall to dethrone Wheaton as the largest in the DC metro area, with his Tysons Corner Center opening in 1968. But Tysons was the area's first enclosed regional mall, and so Lerner wanted to give Wheaton a fair chance in its market. So a redevelopment was announced for Wheaton Plaza in 1974 that would fully enclose the mall. The following year, work still hadn't yet begun on the mall's enclosure, but on the morning of March 25, 1975, news would shock the area in a case that would go unsolved for over 40 years. Sheila and Catherine Lyon left their Kensington, Maryland home at around 11 o'clock in the morning to visit Wheaton Plaza. At around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, another kid in their neighborhood saw the sisters outside of the Orange Bowl at Wheaton Plaza, speaking with an unknown middle-aged man. By 2 o'clock, the sisters' brother spotted them alone, just eating some pizza. Thought nothing of it. The last time that the girls were seen was around 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon when a friend saw them walking away from the mall to the west. Their curfew was set at 4 p.m., and when they never showed up back at home, their family panicked and called the cops. By 7 o'clock, police launched what would become one of the most haunting child disappearance cases in American history, and the girls would never be found, and the case would go unsolved for decades. The disappearance of Catherine and Sheila Lyon crippled Wheaton and the surrounding areas for years, destroying any semblance of innocence and childhood freedom that remained well into the 1980s. But time would go on, and the shock of the girls' disappearance would fade, and businesses would return to normal. By 1977, Ted Lerner had opened his brand new White Flint Mall up the street in Rockville, which he would pour most of his energy into. And by 1981, the roof and air conditioning had been installed here at Wheaton Plaza, which saw the end of its enclosure work. But by May 29, 1985, his partners Gudelsky and Ammerman sued Lerner Enterprises for actively blocking a Hecht's department store from opening at Wheaton, going on to win the suit when it was shown that Lerner's attorney wrote to the May Company in April just 1 month prior to actively prevent the store from coming to Wheaton. The lawsuit cost Gudelsky and Ammerman $30 million to buy Lerner out of the partnership, and they fired him as manager at Wheaton Plaza. And after the dust had settled, a new Hecht's actually did open here at Wheaton Plaza on Thursday, October 29, 1987. It was at this time that Lerner had fully exited the partnership to focus solely on his new Tysons 2 development.
This elevator's not so bad. It smells just kind of like stale armpits, but it's probably the best I've been in all day. Open. What is this? This smells like Costco. Oh.
In previous episodes, I've talked about mall enclosure projects at other locations, and often we'll see a grand redevelopment that completely reshapes the mall to create its enclosure. But here at Wheaton Plaza, they just slapped some roofing over the exposed concourse and installed air conditioning. There was a new concourse built at the south end to connect to the new Hecht's, which was the only space in the mall interior with 2 levels of new finished retail space, with the food court being added to the lower level that was once comprised of the Plaza South stores. Attempts were made over the years to convert the service basement under the mall to retail space, but most of them failed, and in posts that I've read across a few forums online, retail workers and shoppers that were here at the mall during that time dreaded going into that service basement, and most of them say that it was one of the creepiest areas on the planet. I haven't been able to locate any pictures of this service basement or the tunnel, so if any of you out there have photos of it, let me know in the comments so we can get in touch. I'd love to see what it looked like. By November of 1995, the Woody's chain would go defunct, and the following year, a JCPenney would open at its shuttered Wheaton Plaza location. Then in June of 1997, Australia-based Westfield Holdings spent $1.4 billion picking up a handful of malls around the US, of which they acquired a 78% interest in Wheaton Plaza. By February of 1999, Westfield had then pushed out Gudelsky and Ammerman and became the sole owner. As the mall crawled through the service tunnel of Y2K, Westfield announced a redevelopment plan to fully modernize Wheaton Plaza to give it a chance in the DC metro market. By 2001, the Montgomery Ward's chain folded, which served as the catalyst for Westfield's redevelopment of Wheaton Plaza. Target would then open in the former Ward's space by 2002, along with much of the service tunnel in front of it and basement being converted to a lower-level retail concourse. Just a few years later, the May Company, which owned the Hecht's department store chain, was acquired by Federated Department Stores in 2005, which saw the closure of Wheaton Plaza's Hecht's. The same year, a new Macy's was constructed at the mall next to Target, along with a full renovation that saw the remaining service tunnels and basement space converted to full retail space and mall concourse, giving the mall a proper full 2 levels of enclosed retail, along with the construction of a new parking garage at the north end of the mall, and renovations to the existing parking structures that wrapped around it. The mall was formally renamed to Westfield Wheaton following the renovations in 2005, and in total, the work cost around $180 million.
Senator, and right now I've got an emergency. I need you to listen up hard right now. My Grease Queen Marna has been deported out of the United States to Mexico, and she does not speak Spanish. I happen to know that she is fluent in sign language because once those hands of hers start with them Pittsburgh handshakes, they cannot quit. And that's why I love her so much. It's my hope that the Mexican guards and guardesses know how to barter with Marna because it's the only chance she has at surviving. I need one of you to help me set up an emergency MySpace website page to run funds for her extraction to the United States so I can put a ring on them oily fingers of hers and lock down that fine piece of Marna meat. I do appreciate all y'all's patience with me, and I am sure I'll be sending you all to the dull-ass town center in a few weeks, so I'll meander on over there and see if they can help me find my woman. I love all of y'all, and I think you all are gorgeous in the way two men high-five each other accordingly for catching a big fish. I hope y'all have a good night and free Marna. Bye now.
The former Hecht's Anchor here at Wheaton Plaza, or Westfield Wheaton, would sit vacant until a furniture store occupied that same space temporarily in 2006, which closed 2 years later, in March of 2008. It was then announced in 2010 that former Hecht's would be completely demolished to construct a Costco, which opened in April of 2013, along with a Dick's Sporting Goods on its lower level. It was at this time that I started visiting the mall on my lunch breaks when I worked as the Geek Squad manager up the street at the Wheaton Best Buy. It was also around this time in 2015 that Lloyd Lee Welch Jr. was indicted for the murders of Catherine and Sheila Lyon, who were abducted from Wheaton Plaza back in 1975 and never found. Welch Jr. is now serving 2 concurrent terms of 48 years in prison. After I moved out of this area, I would occasionally visit when I was in town for something else, a concert or something. And this mall really hasn't changed at all since its last renovation in 2005. Eventually, I came back recently in 2025 to film the footage that you've been watching. And despite some new scars and closures, the mall is still doing pretty well. But it was reported just after my visit in April of 2025 that Uniball Rodamco Westfield defaulted on their $235 million loan. While I don't expect any repercussions to the mall itself, we might find the mall in the hands of a new owner if Westfield can't get their act together. Time will tell. So this is the area right here in front of the Macy's where the service basement tunnel ended and where the trucks would come to unload products at the loading docks. You can see the elevation discrepancy when you're driving from one end to the other, with the first level of the mall being underground to the north and fully exposed to the south. But when you exit the Macy's here at the first level, you can see the area that used to be the service basement and the actual loading docks from back in the day. Obviously, trucks couldn't easily fit in here now, so I'm not exactly sure why they kept this area for any reason other than sentimentality. Either way, it's just a super cool relic of the mall's past. So if any of you visit, make sure you go check that out. Okay, so that is the Wheaton Plaza, or the Westfield Wheaton. I've known this mall for a very long time. I used to work at the Best Buy right up the street as the manager of the Geek Squad. By the way, do you see that little red thing next to Dick's that says Nando's Peri Peri? I actually got Nando's to go, and I was going to review it here, but I remembered that there was something else right up the street, like 15 minutes away, that I've been wanting to show you on this channel for a very long time. All I smell right now is Nando's Peri Peri. I'm not going to eat it yet, so stick around to the end of the episode and I'll just reheat it at home and I'll give you a review from my studio. It's a location that sits just minutes away, like a block or something away from the Strathmore Music Hall, which I've played concerts in multiple times. You might have seen my latest reel on Instagram where I showed you the inside of Strathmore, but there is a mall, one of Ted Lerner's properties, and it was demolished like 10 years ago. The property still exists, fenced off with scars of what it used to be. Let's take a drive 15 minutes away. Come on. Okay, so I just got off of the Wisconsin Avenue exit and I'm going north. We passing Strathmore shortly. You can see signs for Strathmore and arts and stuff. Strathmore Mansion's back there. There's the entrance for it. We're going to arrive at a mall that I used to frequent after. It's still yellow. It's still yellow. It's still yellow. It's still. This road is a disaster. Oh my God. We're going to be arriving at a mall in a second that I used to go to after lots of concerts in this area. And so far it's only been like a block, 2 blocks-ish. But here we go. I'm going to turn the camera around. Look. Oh, look at the road. It's awful. I guess they're redoing it. All right, so we're pulling up here. There's the big screen store. And then, look, right here. Look at this. Can I pull in here? Wait. The White Flint Mall was located here in Rockville, Maryland, and built by Ted Lerner in 1977, constructed at a time when nearly every major city had their own regional shopping mall. White Flint spanned 800,000 square feet and was anchored by a Bloomingdale's, Lord & Taylor, and an I. Magnin department store. The mall's central elevator was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, with an upper section in its atrium that looked like a high dive platform under its grand skylight. But despite its location near one of the nation's richest neighborhoods, White Flint Mall would shutter on January 4, 2015. The Lord & Taylor would still remain open through 2020 as the mall was demolished around it, but the Lord & Taylor was eventually torn down in 2023. Back when I was living in College Park, I would visit White Flint Mall pretty often after concerts and on nights out. But I never thought to film it or even take pictures back then. The footage you're watching right now was published by a YouTube channel called The Lion 301, which is an eerie coincidence given what happened to the Lion sisters at Wheaton Plaza up the street. But this footage is exactly as I remember the mall looking whenever I would visit. The only real reason I would come here was to grab a drink and play games at the Dave & Buster's and just walk around to kill some time before seeing a concert up the street at Strathmore. But even after the mall closed and was being actively demolished, all I remember was the lone Lord & Taylor still open for business for some unknown reason. Okay, so we're here at the former White Flint Mall, and I'm gonna get out of my truck here and see if we can see anything. Like, yeah, I know it's open and I could go in there, but there's not anything compelling enough to see for me to go in there. But this is it. This is where the White Flint Mall used to be. And you can still see some scars. And for the longest time, the Lord & Taylor was just sitting there, mostly demolished, but it stood there for a long time. I'd like to thank all of you for watching my video. Doing this series on the DC Metro, Northern VA, and Maryland adjacent malls has been a blast since I've spent so much time seeing these places over the years. And I just wanted to let you know that we'll be finishing the Ted Lerner saga in my next episode with ExLog 135 on the last regional mall that he developed, which is the Dulles Town Center. It's a great mall, and it's one of my favorite in the area, so please stay tuned. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram and Blue Sky at Salvatore Amadeo. And to join my Discord server, home of DMod, just go to discord.gg/DMod to join. Also, make sure you check out my available merch at salvatoreamadeo.com/merch. Thanks again to everybody that has purchased merch recently. I'll be back soon in ExLog 135, but right now I'm going to pass you off to in-camera Sal. So this entire mall has been demolished, but they still landscape Look at this. They still do the landscaping on this tiny patch of grass. At not even abandoned mall. The mall's gone. But they still keep up this little patch of grass. Awesome. It's actually crazy to me that right now in 2025, this mall, demolition began on it in 2015. And it took them years to knock this place down. And the Lord & Taylor was actually still standing for quite some time. But it's crazy to me that they haven't done anything meaningful with this property in an area that has so much money. Rockville has so much money. It's just wild that they haven't done anything with this property. Thank you all so much for watching this episode. I appreciate you all sticking with me through these weird tangents that I've been taking to places that weren't the mall that I initially advertised in the episode. So thank you all for your patience and your time. And yeah, that's all that's left of the White Flint Mall, but there are still remnants of it. Thanks especially to my patrons, Elite Explorers, and everyone that's purchased merch from my website. Patrons, Elite Explorers, merch buyers, enjoyers of ExLog merch, you're all keeping this engine running. I will be back soon with my next ExLog, but until then, please, stay safe out there, Legion. Take care of yourself, and have a fantastic day.
Save up to 60% at Martin's Holiday Sale. Ladies' fashion sweaters and vests, half price, $12. Boys' puff-filled ski jackets, $12.99. Jordache and other designer denim jeans, half price.
Men's $19.99. Students $17.99.
Martin's through Columbus Day.
We'll return to Harvey in just a moment.
Nobody beats the Wiz. Nobody beats the Wiz. The Wiz breaks the price barrier with the guaranteed lowest prices. Like this NEC VHS VCR with wireless remote, only $339. Or this Technics compact disc player, just $188.
Shop around, get your best price, bring it in, and the Wiz will beat it. Nobody beats the Wiz, and that's a guarantee.
4 great locations: Rockville Pike, Iverson Plaza, and 2 locations just cut.
Tell her you care in over 70 people-loving shops at Wheaton Plaza, Georgia Avenue, Veers Mill Road, and University Boulevard, Wheaton, Maryland.
It's a whole new shopping scene.
Hey Legion, you still there? I need to share Nando's Peri Peri with you. Look at this.
Hello Legion, I hope that, do I have any of you still with me at the end of this episode? It's the day after the footage that you just saw, and when I got home from filming Wheaton last night, I didn't eat the chicken. I'm starving. It's the day after the footage you just saw, and I need to share it's my civic duty actually to share Peruvian chicken with all of you. This is Nando's Peri Peri. And I'm here in my studio. I'm going to eat it. So what I got was their Caesar chicken wrap, a slice of grilled pineapple, some chili jelly, their Nando Perinaise, and some fries. I'm starving. You have to see this right now. Holy. Okay, so this is the chicken Caesar wrap. And these are the Nando chips. They're just like their French fries. That comes with it. Let's see this. Hold on. Oh my god, I can't get it open fast enough. Oh my god, look at this. Nando's is some of the best food that exists ever. Make sure you try it if you can. And if you don't have a Nando's, make sure you find a Peruvian chicken place right now. Oh my god. It's hefty. This is the Nando's Peri Peri Chicken Caesar Wrap. Oh, it's so good. There's giant chunks of chicken in there. Veggies. One bite. This is really good. I'm gonna give this whole thing. Here's the chili. The chili jelly. Oh, it's also good. Grilled pineapple. I can't express just how incredible this chicken wrap is. There's like croutons in it. There's pickled red onions, some romaine, and giant slabs of chicken. It's so good. God. And these fries are crispy. They're seasoned. If you have a Nando's Peri Peri, you have to go try it. It's just so good. 9-3. This is a 9-3. 9-3. Wash it down with some coffee. The whole thing is a 9-3. The coffee's a 7-8. Pretty good. Passable. Thank you all for watching this episode. I will see you all very soon on ExLog 135.
Take care of yourselves, Legion. Have a fantastic day.